Bob's Burgers is an American animated sitcom created by Loren Bouchard for the Fox Broadcasting Company. The series centers on the Belchers parents Bob and Linda, and their children Tina, Jean, and Louise who run a hamburger restaurant. The family was conceived by Bouchard after developing home movies. Since its debut on January 9, 2011, the series has broadcast 67 episodes. While reviews for the first season were mixed, subsequent reviews have been positive. The series premiere, Human Flesh, drew in 9.38 million viewers, making it the highest-rated series premiere of the season and also finished ninth in the ratings for the week it aired. On October 16, 2012, Fox renewed Bob's Burgers for a fourth season consisting of 22 episodes. The series started airing past-aired episodes in syndication on Cartoon Network's late-night adult programming block Adult Swim on June 23, 2013. On September 26, 2013, Fox renewed the series for a fifth season, ordering 22 additional episodes. There are plans to release both a comic book featuring the characters in the show, as well as a CD featuring music from the show. No solid release date has been announced for either, but Loren Bouchard said that he expects to see the comic released in summer 2014, and the CD to be released in fall 2014. In 2013, TV Guide ranked Bob's Burgers as one of the top 60 greatest TV cartoons of all time. Plot: the show centers on the Belcher family, who run a hamburger restaurant on Ocean Avenue in an unnamed seaside community. Series creator Loren Bouchard commented in a 2012 interview that the show's location was an indeterminate northeastern United States shore town. Entertainment writers have later described the show as being set in New Jersey, citing the season 3 episode It Snakes a Village. The restaurant is located in a 2-floor building sandwiched between a funeral home and a building where tenants come and go on a regular basis, and the Belcher family lives in the apartment directly above the restaurant. Bob's Burgers is a struggling restaurant situated on a commercial street that relies heavily on traffic from the local amusement park, Wonder Wharf, which is located on a pier at the end of Ocean Avenue and owned by Calvin Fisherder, an eccentric millionaire who also owns many buildings in the town, including the one where Bob's Burgers and the Belchers' home is located. Success is not easy, as Bob must compete with several other eateries for business. His biggest rival is Jimmy Pesto's Pizzeria, the owner of which Bob particularly dislikes. Bob's restaurant also has seen its fair share of bad luck. For example, in the show's open, Bob's Burgers falls victim to a fire, an infestation of vermin, and a utility pole that falls over and crashes into the building. In spite of all this, Bob does have a loyal but small group of regular customers, including Mort, the owner of the funeral home, and Teddy Francisco, the local handyman. Characters: the Belcher family runs a hamburger restaurant. Bob is the restaurant's owner and husband to Linda. Their 3 children are Tina, the oldest, Jean, the only boy, and Louise, the youngest. All 3 kids help out around the restaurant to some extent. Louise is known for altering the Burger of the Day titles to inappropriate plays on words. Jean is known for offering burger samples to individuals leaving the neighboring crematorium and using his megaphone and electric keyboard for questionable purposes. Tina is known for helping out on the grill while at the same time dealing with her budding puberty. There are various recurring characters in the series, including Jimmy Pesto, Sr., Bob's rival who owns a pizzeria across the street, and his sons Jimmy Jr. and hyperactive twins Andy and Ollie, who are friends of Louise. Other recurring characters include the aforementioned Mort and Teddy, as well as Linda's eccentric sister Gail. Production: creator Loren Bouchard said Bob's Burgers came about because Fox's animation brand centers mostly on family, but he also wanted to dabble in workplace comedy. The show is said to fill the void created by the conclusion of King of the Hill, which Bob's Burgers executive producer Jim Dauterive worked on for nearly its entire run. Proof of concept: before the show was aired, the team created a proof of concept so Fox Broadcasting Company knew what to expect if they bought the show. Jay Howell had his art featured in a test animation based on Bob forgetting about his and Linda's wedding anniversary. The actual show has never used a word that needed to be censored by the network. The proof of concept eventually turned into the pilot episode. It had the same synopsis as the official pilot but had both cosmetic and substantial differences. These included cruder animation, character models having longer noses, Bob wears a white tank top singlet, the eldest child is male, and called Daniel. In the broadcast pilot, Tynese's dialogue is the same as Daniel's and the voice characterization by Dan Mintz is the same, despite being changed to a female character. The intro had slower animation due to budget, extra dialogue and plot elements, expanding the running time from 13.5 minutes to 21.5 minutes. A scene introducing Mort, the funeral director and next-door neighbor, at It's Your Funeral. A scene of dialogue concerning Linda's relationship with Hugo Haber called The Health Inspector. A scene where the community reacts badly to the restaurant's health safety alert, and Bob confronts Hugo about it. A scene where Hugo and Ron talk in their van. A denouement wrapping up certain plot elements. In the proof of concept, Gene drops the hamburger samples when the elderly morning lady leaves and comes back to kick him onto the ground. In the actual episode, she flips the pan of samples out of his hand. The original pilot can be seen on the DVD release of the first season, released on April 17, 2012. Development. Bob's Burgers first appeared on the development slate at Fox on August 6, 2009. On December 1, 2009, Fox ordered 13 episodes for the first season. On May 17, 2010, Fox placed the series on the primetime slate for the 2010-11 television season. A special preview aired on Thanksgiving on November 25, 2010. Executive producers. Creator Loren Bouchard serves as the executive producer, alongside developer Jim Dorterive. They have served as executive producers since the first season. Writing. The team of writers includes Loren Bouchard, Jim Dorterive, Scott Jacobson, Lizzie Molyneux, Wendy Molyneux, Holly Schlesinger, Nora Smith, Stephen Davis, Kelvin Yu, Dan Fibel, Rich Rinaldi, Kit Boss, Greg Thompson, and John Schroeder. After the writing has been completed, the voice actors read the script as written, but later are allowed to improvise lines. The editors and director decide what improvised lines make the final cut. Voice cast. Bob's Burgers has 5 main cast members: H. John Benjamin, John Roberts, Dan Mintz, Eugene Merman, and Kristen Scull. Benjamin voices Bob Belcher, Roberts voices Linda Belcher, Mintz voices Tina Belcher, Merman voices Jean Belcher, Scull voices Louise Belcher. Hallmarks. Opening sequence. The opening sequence begins with a burger, after which the Belcher family appears, with their restaurant sporting a grand opening sign in the background. The restaurant is then shown being damaged in a series of incidents, each time returning with a sign announcing the grand reopening, grand re-reopening, and so on. Finally, the view zooms into the Bob's Burgers sign logo and fades into the start of the episode. From Season 3, the sequence was slightly changed. The Belchers pose differently. Gene bops up and down during the series of incidents. Louise jumps near Gene and slightly waves her hands before the incidents, and it instead zooms in on the cheese of the burger Bob is holding to start the episodes. The music was also updated. Also, Jimmy Pesto can now be seen reflected in the window of the Exterminator Company's van. As with other Fox animated series such as Futurama, The Simpsons and American Dad, the show has a changing element in the show's opening credits. The store to the right of the restaurant has a humorous name that changes from one episode to the next. However, during episodes, the retail space is usually vacant. Additionally, beginning in Season 2, a different company is named on the pest control truck for each episode's opening credits. On certain episodes, an element is changed for a special night credits sequence. The credits sequence of Bob's Burgers often features the Belcher family at work. The scene is the kitchen of Bob's Burgers drawn with a black outline over a white background, with the credits off to the right-hand side. In the first season, with very few exceptions, the end sequence was always the same: Bob cooking a burger, Louise standing next to him with a plate, and Tina washing dishes. Bob would place the burger on a plate for Louise to give to Linda, who would take it from the window. The sequence then ended with Gene walking through the kitchen wearing the burger costume. He hands out samples in beginning in Season 2. The background began to include elements from the episode, such as a guest star or visual gag. Over time, the credits sequence has expanded from this to include things other than the kitchen scene, including near SY Riders credits sequence having the Belcher children riding their bikes down a highway, and in Purple Rain Union, Linda and Gail's old band, the Taters, performs a song while the kids and their new babysitter, Jen, sneak into the adults-only concert during the credits. The end credits often have an updated version of a song or piece of music sung in the episode, such as Topsy having an updated version of the song Electric Love, and It Snakes a Village having an extended version of a song Gene sang about snakes. Daily Special. Every episode features one or more Today's Special burgers on a chalkboard on the wall behind the counter. The name of the special is usually a play on words that indicates what comes on the burger. Other special burgers are also mentioned by the family without being written on their chalkboard. Home media. The first season of the show is available on the iTunes Store for download and was released on DVD on April 17, 2012. Seasons 2 and 3 were released on Burn-on-Demand format on Amazon. The first 3 seasons are available from Amazon Instant Video, along with Season 4 episodes. As of February 1, 2014, the first 2 seasons are available on Netflix. As of April 1, 2014, Season 3 is also available on Netflix. Episodes are aired on Hulu for the current season only. Reception and achievements. Success. Initial reviews were mixed, with a Metacritic score of 54 out of 100. The Washington Post described the show as pointlessly vulgar and derivatively dull, while Reuters stated that it's unwise and unnecessary to launch an animated sitcom on Fox that appears intent to ape the vulgarity, quoting to Family Guy. USA Today stated that Bob's Burgers isn't very tasty, describing the comedy as just lopping along, stumbling from one tasteless moment to the next. The New York Times described the show as having a lackadaisical vibe. Its humor, no matter how anarchic, slides by in a deadpan monotone. However, as Season 1 progressed and concluded and Season 2 began, critics began giving the series praise. Rowan Kaiser of the AV Club has recalled, "The show was amusing, yes, and there was certainly potential, but it took half a dozen episodes before it really began to meet that potential." Season 2 has a Metacritic score of 78 out of 100. Entertainment Weekly gave the show an A grade in its review, remarking that a comedy this well done is very rare indeed. Ain't It Cool News called Bob's Burgers perhaps the funniest half-hour currently airing on broadcast TV. In its review, CNN called the show wickedly funny, and said there are too many highlights to list here. Speaking about the show during its second season, the AV Club's Rowan Kaiser said after an uneven start, Boba unregistered trademark S Burgers is becoming one of television unregistered trademark S best comedies. Since the debut of Season 2 of the series, the show's positive reception has increased. The Avenue Club voted Bob's Burgers as the 10th best TV show of 2012, and the 3rd best show of 2013. Awards and nominations. Bob's Burgers was nominated for a Primetime Emmy in 2012 along with fellow FOX shows The Simpsons, American Dad, Comedy Central's Futurama and Nickelodeon's The Penguins of Madagascar. Ratings. After airing, the show became the highest-rated series premiere of the season and also finished 9th in the ratings for the week it aired. Despite this, the ratings went on a slide, with ratings expert Bill Gorman of TV by the Numbers calling it a toss-up for renewal before the series was renewed for a second season which premiered on March 11, 2012. Syndication. On May 1, 2013, Adult Swim acquired the rights to air the first 3 seasons of Bob's Burgers. The series aired on June 23, 2013 at 11 Eastern Time. Episodes. In popular culture. On January 6, 2011, some Fatburger locations were rebranded as Bob's Burgers for the day as a promotion. It also offered limited-time offers, such as a free burger giveaway, and a special, the Thanks a Brunch Burger, on the menu until February 2011. There were also Bob's Burgers coupons offered for a free medium-fat burger special. Across the United States, 4 locations were rebranded as Bob's Burgers, in California, New Jersey, Nevada, and Illinois. At least one restaurant location in California continues to use the Bob's Burgers appellation into 2012. In the Family Guy episode Space Cadet, the principal shows Peter and Lois a picture of Bob Belcher as a sign that Chris is doing poorly in his advanced art class. Peter mutters, "I'm very embarrassed," and the principal replies, "Yeah, well, someone should be." In Boopity Bappity, Louise is one of many characters Stewie is turned into by Peter using a remote control. Bob's Burgers is also mentioned on He's Black, as one of the reasons why the Cleveland show was such a failure. The season 4 premiere episode of Archer features a crossover where Bob is revealed to be Sterling Archer in a fugue state. The menu board plays on once amnesiac fictional secret agent Thomas Elphinstone Hambledon in a novel series by Manning Coles. Homeland, the season 25 premiere episode of The Simpsons, features a couch gag in which the Belcher family attend a 25th anniversary party in the Simpson family living room with the main characters of their fellow animation domination series. Bob makes a cameo appearance in the hour-long Simpsons Family Guy crossover The Simpsons Guy. He appears in the same airplane as Homer and Peter in a cutaway about them being a greater team than the Air Force. Peter remarks to Homer that they have to carry Bob because if he flew on his own, he'd flame out like Cleveland. This is a reference to the poor ratings of Bob's Burgers and the cancellation of the Cleveland show. See also: Category, 2010's American Animated Television Series, List of programs broadcast by Fox, References. External links, Official website, Bob's Burgers at the Internet Movie Database, Bob's Burgers at TV.com, Bob's Burgers at the Big Cartoon Database.